What's up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the Galaxy S10 5G to the iPhone 11 here. So this is a very interesting comparison. So if you're in the market to buy a older flagship phone, these are two very good options here. So let's go ahead and see which one that you may prefer here. So first off, let's go ahead and just do a price update here for the USA. Of course, prices will be different in different countries. So right now, the iPhone 11 is $338 for used refurbished. All the phones that I get, older flagships, are typically used refurbished from Amazon or sometimes eBay. S10 5G is going to be $279 here. So you can see iPhone 11 going to be slightly more expensive. So I want to start off with the build quality of these two phones. So these are two very nice looking phones. The iPhone 11 is definitely the smaller phone here. You can see much smaller, and they actually feel about the same weight though. So the iPhone 11 is a full glass and metal device here. Still looks really good in 2022. And the Galaxy S10 5G is also a full glass and metal device here. So one of the essential differences with the hardware on these two phones is that the S10 5G does have a headphone jack and the iPhone 11 does not. So if you're somebody that really wants a headphone jack for the plug and play, then you would definitely appreciate that. Both of these phones do have IP68 dust and water resistant ratings as well. So I think hardware wise, it's going to come down to, do you want that option? They both have stereo speakers as well, which we will test out. But as far as how these phones look and feel, they both look and feel really, really great. All right, so another category here that we're going to touch on is the screen. So which screen is better for watching content? And I think it's going to be the S10 5G, hands down for me personally. So if you watch a lot of videos, Netflix, YouTube, just in general, you just watch a lot of stuff on your phone, I think you'll really like the S10 5G here. It's a 6.7 inch display, so it's much bigger than the iPhone 11 6.1 inch display. It's a dynamic AMOLED display. It has HDR10 plus on here. You also have a 1440p resolution, and you also have 502 for the PPI, and it's Gorilla Glass 6. And you can see, even though this has a double punch hole, it's still less intrusive than the iPhone 11's notch. So the iPhone 11, it has a 6.1 inch display. It is a 720p plus display, or if you want to get technical, it's 828 by 1792. So it's a much lower resolution, you can definitely tell. But the iPhone 11's display is very sharp still, at least to the eye. The PPI is not nowhere near as sharper than the S10 5G though. But it's 326. The iPhone 11 still looks really good for an IPS panel, but it's just nowhere near as far as quality wise as this S10 5G. Here the S10 5G just looks much better. It's a higher resolution. You just enjoy content so much more on this device here. And I'm not, I've never been the biggest fan of IPS panels, but like I said, this one is fine. It does get fairly bright. I just think hands down, if you're really like somebody that's watching Netflix and YouTube hard, you'll really enjoy this display. One thing you might really like about the iPhone 11's display is it's completely flat. The S10 5G does have a curve to it, which some people do not like. Me personally, I don't have an issue with that. But I think screen-wise, the S10 5G is the better deal here. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into the specs a little bit more. We have the Apple A13 chip on the iPhone. We also have 64 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM. The S10 5G has the Snapdragon 855 and Adreno 640. No SD card support, 256 gigs of internal storage, and then you also have 8 gigs of RAM here. So basically you get more, internal storage on the S10 5G, which is something that I really like. You only get 64 gigs with the iPhone 11, which is really not that much in 2022. It's definitely enough for people who don't really do download a ton of stuff, but you can fill up 64 gigs kind of fast if you record a lot of video and download a lot of games and stuff like that. So do keep that in mind. You're going to have to pay for a higher configuration if you do decide to go with the iPhone 11 and get that 128 gig. One thing that is really awesome about the iPhone 11 is this Apple A13 chip is no slouch. It is very fast processor. As you can see here, it does an excellent job with the Geekbench scores with iOS 15. The Snapdragon 855 also does a pretty good job, as you can see. It's just a much higher score on the iPhone 11 here. Now, as far as like just your daily use on or what you would feel as far as opening applications and stuff like that, both phones actually feel very much on par, as you can see. Even the S10 5G kind of opened that a little faster there. Let's go ahead and launch PUBG. As you can see, both of these phones, I did a gaming test on both of these phones. They do an excellent job as far as gaming performance. Now, in the long term, you know, will the iPhone 11 be able to play games at a higher settings longer than the S10 5G? That's definitely, you know, might be the case, you know, 3 years from now. But for right now, they actually both game at the same settings for pretty much majority of games. So your gaming experience should be pretty similar on these two devices. As you can see, S10 5G, you can see I can play HDR Extreme, and it's pretty much the same thing for the iPhone HDR Extreme. I can even go up to the highest settings here. So that's one thing that I definitely like. These are just going to be awesome devices as far as your gaming performance goes, for sure. So definitely keep that in mind. Just want to see which one gets in here first. iPhone, you can see just super smooth, buttery performance on both of these devices here. Let's go ahead and talk about the additional features, and let's start off with the stereo speakers. So let's go ahead and test these out. Max volume, Dolby Atmos is on the S10. So the S10 5G speakers are extremely impressive, really starting to become some of my favorite sounding speakers. These are just very loud. It's louder than the iPhone 11. The bass is just really balanced and well tuned on here. It's very impressive. Yeah, so it's just overall just a better sounding speaker than the iPhone 11. The top speaker is putting in so much work. It's actually pretty amazing. Like, you're getting so much bass out of this top speaker, and it's so loud. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, the top speaker on the iPhone is just not as loud. So yeah, the speakers hands down definitely goes to the S10 5G. Very impressive. Alright, so I do want to go ahead and talk about your biometrics. So you do have two options, which I always love. So you have your under-the-display fingerprint sensor on the S10 5G. You also can take advantage of the Face Unlock. The iPhone does have better Face Unlock, of course, with Face ID. Works flawlessly, works really well. So I have no issues with that. But like I said, I do like that you have two options on Android. Both these phones have NFC as well too, which is really nice. They both have wireless charging as well. This is I think one of the main reasons why a lot of people buy the iPhone 11s is the cameras are actually pretty amazing on this older flagship phone here. So it only has a dual camera setup. It's a 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 24 through 60, and then you also have a 12 megapixel selfie cam that also shoots through 4K 24 through 60. The Galaxy S10 5G, it does have a triple camera setup. It's also a 12 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel telephoto, and then we have a 16 megapixel ultra wide with a 0.3 depth sensor on here. It shoots in 4K 60, and then you have a 10 megapixel selfie cam also with a depth sensor up front. That's why you have that dual, punch hole. So I'm going to show you guys the pictures side by side in the video. Which camera do you think takes better photos and video? Be sure to let me know your opinion. Alright guys, here is the iPhone video quality. Let's see. And then on the iPhone, we only have our ultra wide. There's no 2x, of course. So let me know what you guys think. Which video do you guys think looks better? Alright guys, here is the video on the S10 5G. Make sure you pay attention to the mic quality. Here's the 2x. You guys probably hear my cat in the background. And then here's the ultra wide. Alright, so lastly, we're going to discuss battery life. So battery life is actually very good on both of these phones. I feel like the S10 5G, you get slightly better battery life, but it's really not by much. So the iPhone 11, if you have good battery health, so just to check the battery health on here, I'm able to get 6 hours of screen on time easily with this phone at 87%. The S10 5G has a 4500 milliamp battery with 25 watt charging. It does charge faster than the iPhone, and then it has the reverse wireless charging as well too, which the iPhone does not have. So I'll go ahead and show you guys real quick what I mean. Hold on. I think this is always like a very cool feature. So you can see I can charge with my S10. I can charge like my earbuds or another phone or whatever, which I always think is handy. Yeah, but the iPhone, it does have a smaller battery, 3110, but like I said, with the Apple ecosystem and the hardware integration, it still gets excellent battery life, and it charges at 18 watts. So I definitely like the battery experience on the S10 5G, being able to do the reverse wireless charge and also being able to charge slightly faster. But both of these phones can easily get over 6 hours of screen on time. But like I said, you might get slightly better battery life, or I feel like I get better battery life on the S10 5G just a little bit. But the iPhone 11 is impressive for its size. Alright, so that is pretty much it. These are two excellent phones. I really like the cameras on the iPhone 11. I really like that this phone is extremely blazing fast. But with the S10 5G, like I said, for this phone being so cheap, having all of the features in one UI as far as Samsung desktop, secure folders, all that cool stuff, the big screen on here, big beautiful screen, the headphone jack, you got plenty of storage, I think. It's just a really nice package, and it's also a very fast phone as well too. So it just really comes down to which device you prefer. Do you want the iOS experience? This phone is going to be getting updates at least for, maybe another 4 years, maybe. The S10 5G, this got its last major OS update, so also keep that in consideration. It'll get 3 years of security patches. So be sure to let me know, what do you guys think? Which device would you guys go with? And I'll catch you guys in the next one.